Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me as co-host, Dennis Brown. We are joined by members of the Somerset Cup Match team for 2021 in Coach Jeff Richardson, Assistant Coach Jacoby Robinson, Kamal Levrock, LJ Richardson, and Nairobi Mills. First of all, gentlemen, I want to say congratulations, job well done. Jeff, a lot of hard work is going into putting together this streak of 9 successive years holding on to the cup. Take us through some of the things that you kind of worked on when you first took over to kind of start this journey and this platform for Somerset Cricket Club.
Oh wow, you're going some time back. Well, first of all, it was all Jacon's idea to come and sort of headhunt me, so to speak. He actually called me on my job one day and said, "Look, we need to talk." And I said, "Okay, well, let's have a chat." And he came and we chatted for a little bit, and he said he remembered as a youngster watching us train, because when Western Stars used to train, we had a bunch of guys who would show up to train a little earlier, and we would run out to Amity House, do the circuit, and then come back to the club and do our regular training session. Then eventually the entire team would do it. And so he recalls the effort that we put in, how we used to be perspiring and exhausted and that sort of stuff. And he wasn't seeing that at Somerset training. So he's decided, well, Jeff, I need you to bring that energy to Somerset Cricket Club, because I think that's what in order for us to win this trophy and get us to where we need to be, then that's the side of our game that we need to work on. And the rest is history.
Well, I know Dennis is itching to talk to his team. So Dennis, over to you.
Yeah, good night, guys. Pleasure to have you guys on the show. This means so much to me to have my Somerset boys on tonight. As always, St. George is outnumbering Somerset on this show, but tonight, just like we dominated Cup Match, we're going to dominate the show tonight.
I hear you.
It's one of the things that has impressed me for the last 10 since Jeff's been there. The professionalism that he brought to the program. You'll be surprised who's looking at you and what you're doing, because that also resonates with me as the technical director of the football program. So, I'm very impressed with the journey, that has taken the club to be in a dominant position. And like Earl said, it's been 9 years, but I believe we've had 5 victories in those 9 years, and the victories have been resounding victories, not just like small, but the resounding victories. So that shows me that the plan that Jeff and Mike and now Jacoby, because I think we have a good coaching staff too. Just looking at the staff with Jacoby, Jeff, Mark Trott, Mike Cadet as the chairman, things in place. And one thing St. George's executive told me today, who I work with at the college, is how the team seems to be like brothers, and the chemistry within the team is like second to none. And I could echo that as well. So I'm gonna ask Jacoby a question in relation to when he played. So what was it like? Tell me, what was it like when you first got chosen for Cup Match? What was that like? And then how was it your first Cup Match? And where did you play your first Cup Match?
2004 was my first Cup Match up in Somerset. I believe the year before, I was just talking about this, I think last night, or I think we was talking about how I wasn't quite ready. I thought I was ready, but my uncle was actually a selector at the time, and he felt I wasn't ready. So my uncle parked me, told me, no, you can't yet.
So how old were you?
At the time, I think I was 17.
Okay.
At 17, but at that time, I was leading wicket taker in the island, at 17, 18. And he just said no. Like, I didn't understand why at the point in time. But then as I got older, I understood why.
Mm.
Actually, when I saw the wicket that's in George B. Pert, I understood why. Because we didn't have the cup at the time. And Mackie
Right.
Crane went as a coach that same year. And Mackie hasn't played cup match since.
Okay.
So, but it was I was all hyped up. But I played cup match with a lot of like Albert Steed and Corey Hill and like legends. I was probably me and Steve were the only youngsters around. Salim, De Niro, Sluggo, Hossie, Jermaine Postlewaite. Like it was the names go on. Right? Better White, Curtis Jackson, Irvin Ramin.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Kamal, you've been in and out of the team due to overseas and a lot of stuff. But what does cup match mean to you, and the fact that you get to be kind of center stage with your teammates and on this run?
Well, cup match means a lot to me simply because, as a young kid, I watched my uncle play. I watched guys like Jacoby. I caught the end of their career. And when I first started, I actually ended up playing with Jacoby, Gennaro, and those types of guys. And I think cup match means a lot to me simply because my first one we lost. So ever since then, I made it a goal to make sure I never had that feeling ever again.
And LJ, your second year, you seem to enjoy the occasion, having added pressure put on you due to all the family ties. What has the two games been like for you?
That's a good question. The two games, they've been everything to me. I've pretty much grown around the cup match team, as far back as I can remember. I've just been around them, and it's just been a part of my life. So to finally be able to, be a part of the team and, like it was earlier mentioned, be a part of that almost brotherhood means the world to me. And, to be a part of a team that wins is even better. I can't, unlike Kamal, I can't talk about having the feeling of loss, but it's just an overwhelming sense of gratification and just enjoying it. I can't say anything more than it means the world to me.
Right. And Nairobi, let me quickly ask you about the fact that you're around these guys in the changing room, you're in the huddles, you're in all of that. How have you enjoyed the experience of being around these guys and the fact that they have been successful over these last few years?
I mean, you look at guys like Kamal, recently my roommate Chris Douglas, and me being, as Chris says, a student of the game, you take a lot from everyone, and being one of the younger players, having people like LJ, you kind of get to bounce back off of them and, how they, as LJ being a reserve as well, you get to ask him questions, you get to ask Bongi questions, and being a bull as Bongi is, you take in a lot and eventually, helps my game.
No, Kamal, you come back off of was side strain some years ago. You just recently started picking up the burling again, pace burling, because you were burling a lot of spin. Well, last year you was burling spin, but that transition of challenging yourself to still be a part of the game, whether it be with the bat in your hand or with the ball, how much pressure do you put on yourself to ensure that what you're giving to the team is everything you have?
To be honest, I don't really feel any pressure simply because I have to trust in my abilities no matter what I'm doing. So I trust myself, whether I'm burning spin, wicket keeping, batting. I would try anything to be on a team of cricket. So, as Friday, all day I was asking Jeff, does he want me to bowl spin? He just laughed, but I was deadly serious because I knew that, my abilities, I could use them to help the team.
Jeff, I see you sitting there with a smile on your face because obviously these three young men have represented Somerset immensely and just watching them grow through the game. You've watched a lot of these guys, first on the sideline, admiring someone else who had played, and now they're players themselves. Watching these guys get into the team, being around the team, what has that been like for you?
It's been very gratifying for me because I've been there for 9 years, so I've watched these guys grow up for the most part, right? You know, at one time they were very good prospects. Next thing you know, they're knocking on the door, and here they are, they're in now. And I had this sense of, what's the word I want to use? I'm just so happy that I'm able to impart my knowledge of cricket onto them. But what I enjoy most of all is their eagerness to learn, and their eagerness to impart their knowledge as well. Because as Nairobi mentioned, he talks to LJ because LJ was reserved for a couple of years before he made the team. Nairobi is now in the same position. And Kamal is so eager to help the team. He's in my ear the entire match to the point where I just have to smile and laugh at him because he wants to build spin, he wants to open the batting, he wants to build pace, he wants to take the new ball, he wants to do this. And it helps because that energy feeds and filters throughout the entire team, you know. And man, look, I'm enjoying it, you know. And but this cup match for me was a bit bittersweet in fact that I didn't really want it to take place. So some of the training sessions I really wasn't into it, but Jacoby was a breath of fresh air, and you know he kicked me in the butt when I start to slack off a bit because if I'm not fully into something, then it's gonna be difficult for me to give my all. Yeah. But through Jacoby's help, we were able to get the team ready, you know, and I mean I always knew what the result would be. I wasn't sure what type of winner it would be, but I knew we would win the match.
Okay. Dennis?
Yeah, when I looked at the team that St. George's picked, one of the things I told St. George's people on the job is that St. George's have 4 batsmen, and if those batsmen fail, they're in trouble. So said, so done. One thing that really impresses me about what's happening in Somerset right now is the competition. Looking at who you had to drop. You had to drop an all-rounder like Crazy James. We have guys knocking on the door like Nairobi. You have guys like Dalen Richardson. You have guys like Dominique Sabur. You have guys like I was very impressed with the youngster Taryn Webb. Very impressed when I saw him at the last Cup match trial. So the future in Somerset is extremely bright. I'm not worrying about the enemy. I'm worrying about my boys. The future is really bright. And one thing I'll suggest to Nairobi is be patient. Just like LJ was reserved a couple of years, but one thing I'll say, be ready when called upon because your time's coming. And when your time comes, make sure that you're ready to go there and do your best. So, LJ, a question for you is: this is your second Cup match. I was very impressed with your first Cup match last year. I believe you made 30. And then this year, I was a little disappointed because I knew that you had 50 on that bet. But at the end of the day, you're mature beyond your years. So how did it feel when you came in this year, and what was your role when you came in? What was your responsibility when you came in this year?
To answer your first part of the question about how I feel when I went in, if I'm being honest, at first I felt a bit bad for Trey because he was on his way to making his half century. So seeing how he got out, I was really upset for him because I know that's usually not something that happens for him, But after just taking a second and thinking about that, when walking on, I kind of got into my zone and realized, it's my turn. I went out there with the plan to just help Chris keep going, rotate the strike and let him do what he has to do because he was the end batsman. So my role wasn't to go out there and trying to score really fast like I tend to do. It was more so to sit back and rotate the strike, let him handle everything. And honestly, I wanted him to try and go for the record. So that was something that was really in my head. After that, sadly he got out, I got into a mode of, looks like I'm the batsman, I need a score. And from there on, it was just playing my game, playing cricket. I tend not to really think much about it. I don't look at my score. I don't think of anything except for the next ball that's coming and playing the ball on its merit. So, yeah.
Well, everybody had a special moment in the game. Nairobi as a reserve, you spent a considerable amount of time on the field. What was it feeling like for you being out there? And I believe you took a catch as well.
Yeah. So this year it's a bit different because I know in 2019 when I was reserve, I wasn't on the field as much. It was more Isaiah and Dalen taking over from it. So it was a bit nerve-wracking at first because I hadn't been on the field as long. But, listening to a lot of the guys saying, we have to get in it and stuff like that, you slowly, gradually start to go, okay, I'm part of the team now. I'm here for a reason. So I stick in, and then, after a while, I got comfortable.
And obviously, as a bowler, you're watching a lot of the fast bowlers bowling, but do you find yourself getting caught up in watching them more than watching what the batsmen are doing at times?
Not so much because I don't want to drop a catch and I don't want to miss field. So I'm most times focused on pretty much what the batsman's doing and just, staying focused.
Yeah. Well, Dennis, before you ask your next question, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more of the Somerset Cricket Club players and coaches on this walk down memory lane. We'll be right back.
We're welcoming back the often featured whole food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. I know, Dennis, we have Jeff for just another few minutes, so we want to get to him as much as you can to see what, get his responses.
Actually, okay. I'm actually on for the entire.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I'm
okay.
Good.
You got permission from your wife, then. That's good.
I did.
Why you gotta throw the man under the bus, man? Come on, man.
I beat it. Okay, so Kamal, one question, and this is for everybody, really, LJ, Kamal, and Nairobi. You guys may have had a choice whether to choose Somerset or whether to choose St. George's. Did any of you have any invitations from St. George's, and then why did you guys choose to play for Somerset?
Yeah, of course, you always get invitations to play for the other side. They try to rope me in because obviously Leverocks have played for St. George's in the past. My uncle Roger played for St. George's, so I think they try to tap into that to get me to play down there. But I think watching my uncle play for Somerset was the final straw that made me choose Somerset. That's all I knew. I've only ever worn red and blue during cup match, so yeah, I never ever really entertained the idea of playing for St. George's, even though, I was invited. Like I was explaining to one of the coaches in St. George's a few years ago, the environment down there is not as nurturing as it is at Somerset. You have a good environment where young players can grow, they can feed off of the older players, the coaching staff, even the administration at Somerset. They have full faith in you as a cup match player. So I think, with all of those elements, I was always going to choose Somerset to play for.
Okay, LJ?
I would say it was never, I don't want to say it wasn't a choice for me, but I say that in the sense of all I've ever known is Somerset. Never once did it cross my mind to think of playing for St. George's in any way, shape, or form, because I grew up around these guys. I have so many family ties to Somerset that it's even thinking about it now, just playing for St. George's is just, it's not even something I could really think about. But yeah, like when it came down to it, I just like Kamal said, he said it perfectly. Just the environment at Somerset it's really good. Everything about it is just perfect for a young player trying to learn and grow in the cricket scene in Bermuda. So that made my choice very easy.
Okay, Nairobi.
Well, here it's a bit of a family rivalry, I would say. Half of my family is St. George's, half is Somerset, and at the end of the day, my mom's Somerset, so we pick from there. But in terms of from the invitation point of view, yeah, I have had a few from down St. George's, but at the end of the day, I look at a lot of the players who play for Somerset, who come out of Somerset, like Coach Jeff, like Gennaro, and you look at a lot of the greats like themselves. Plus, you look at Bung, you look at Dian Stove, you look at Malachi Jones, Malachi being, in our era, currently the highest wicket taker. And you look at things like that, and that's something that you wanna look forward to and become versus in St. George's. I don't personally currently see that much talent and that much hard working individuals. And I think in Somerset you find that you find the drive from everyone. You find people that constantly want to help you. You find people who want to see you do just as well as they do.
Okay, Jeff. One of the things that impresses me is that you have all these different players from, different teams, and me as a coach know that sometimes you put the best players together doesn't make a good team. So, without giving information to the enemy, how did this happen? Because Somerset looks like a machine, right? To me, I looked at St. George's. I see guys arguing with the captain and stuff like that. It seems like night and day. Somerset, we knew that, and one thing that really, 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 really impressed me was when I heard Frey talk, and I wish we had Frey here because he works at the college with me too, about knowing that Jordan had a little injury and a little sickness, and how him and the team rallied around Frey. That really impressed me. So I take my hat off to you, Jeff. How did you get these guys to mesh as a unit like it is? Because it looks like one little family.
Oh, what I can say, I mean, that goes back a long, long way, and it goes back to my experiences as a cricketer. I endured a lot of disappointment in cricket, right, as a player. Many times I wasn't selected when I thought I should have been, and I made a vow that when I gave up the game and I did become a coach, that no player under my watch will feel the way I feel, or feel the way that I felt, or be treated the way that I had been treated. So that's one of my driving forces, to make sure that I communicate to guys and I recognize the fact that you can't treat everyone the same way, because everyone has different personalities, especially in this day and time. So I speak to guys one-on-one. I can't treat Kamal the way I treat Malachi and the way I treat Chris, because these guys are different players entirely, and you have to learn what brings the best out of each one of them. And to your point about being a machine, it all starts with the selection as well. From 2012 when I first came on board, the selection committee has been such that we've always been on the same page for the most part. I mean, like simple things like if there is an issue, the president decides which way we go. And since Blanchette's been the president, he says it right at the beginning of the meeting: if there's any issues and you need my vote, I defer my vote to the captain. So essentially, it's about putting the best team on the field that the captain is comfortable with, because he's the one that's going on the field that's going to be dealing with these guys for 2 days. And to your point, all the best players don't make the best team. And this is something that I've pushed at Somerset Cricket Club. We've got a lot of good players that are not in their team, and it may be for other reasons outside of cricket they're not in the team. And I've had conversations with them as individuals saying, well, this is why, and people respect that. And the fact that I speak to guys individually, they respect the fact that I've been honest with them and upfront with them.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, you had said something earlier about the fact that you didn't think or didn't want the game to go on this year. That was your personal feeling. Mm-hmm. Explain your feelings at that time, why you felt there was not a need for the game to be played.
Okay, simply because I knew that Bermuda as a whole was not going to be able to go to the match. Mm-hmm. That's dead up front, because we have a certain segment of our population that don't want to get tested and will not take the jab. So they're eliminated. And that may be a larger portion than we really think it actually is. Secondly, the time it takes to get this Somerset team to where they need to be, I didn't think it was possible. But then you hear, okay, then you're all going to be on the same page. Well, since we has Somerset and St. George's been on the same page. Mm. And I don't see any reason why it should have to be now. Like, why should we have to lower our standards in order to provide a cricket match that may not be of the quality that people are accustomed to? These guys have been playing T20 cricket going on for the second year now. Mm-hmm. If you looked at Somerset's team, every reserve was on that field for an extended period of time because guys were just not accustomed to being out there that long. And it was humid, it was hot. And, I even mentioned to the umpires, give us a break, man, because this is the first type of cricket. This is the first time these guys have played this type of cricket in 2.5, almost 18 months, mm-hmm. And to the players' credit, I report on actual training sessions. So normally it would be a Tuesday and a Wednesday for cup match training. So I said, well, let's do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And those who can make all three, well done. If you can make two, well done as well. And the guys stepped up to the plate. And I also told them, you guys want this match, you got to come prepared to work. And they put the work in. Some guys even went and hired a personal trainer and was training mornings with the personal trainer and come and have to deal with me in the evening time. So, and that sort of spurred me on as well. And once I saw guys doing that, I knew this game was in the bag.
Mm. Your concerns about Jordan going into the match, obviously carrying an injury, and then on top of that, not feeling well. What was your concerns as a coach with the possibility of having the leader not being able to lead?
That was never really a concern for me. Because if you look at the makeup of our team, right, Taryn captains, he's captain Bermuda at the international level, he captains Bay. You got Dion Stover, you got Kamal in the team, you got Malachi. These guys have been captains for clubs, and they've played at the international level. So, and there have been times, if you can recall, when Jacon went off the field with cramps one year, and Malachi took over the team and took us to the victory. So this is a position we've been in before, so it wasn't new to us. Right. So on this Saturday, or maybe Saturday or the Monday, I spoke with Taryn, and I said there's a possibility you may have to lead the team based on where Jordan was at the time. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, I gave him enough notice to get himself prepared mentally. And so when the time came, he was ready to do it. And, we didn't skip a beat at all.
Right. Now, I know growing up, every cricketer wants to play cup match. Every cricketer probably also wants to lead a team in cup match because you have those guys who are leaders, you have those guys who are followers. But Kamal, any ambitions of leading Somerset at some point in time in your cup match career?
Maybe when I get a bit older. There's a lot of leaders playing for the team right now that I feel would probably be in line before me to be captain. Especially, Taryn Frey, LJ's are, son of the soil. So I think, those types of ambitions can cloud, what you really want to achieve in cup match. I don't have any thoughts about those. Mm-hmm. The only really thought about me being a captain was probably be the national team at some point.
Mm. What about you, LJ? Any desire to lead that team eventually?
Like Homo, I don't think about it too much right now, as I feel like I'm at my age. I still have a lot more to learn before I can even consider a role like that. Because just looking at what Taryn and Jordan have had to go through as captains, it's something I feel like you're able to do once you've built up a large amount of experience. And I feel like if it's something I put on my mind right now, I can kind of lose focus what I need to do in order to build myself up as a player. So I just try to focus on what I can do to add to the team as a player right now. And I feel like that's something I may think about later on in the future after, like I said, I've had a bit of time in the cup match team relative to everyone else.
Sure. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, Dennis, you're up.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Before I ask Nairobi a question, one of the things that I like to say before I forget, because my memory's good, I'm really impressed, man. We always hear of negativity amongst our young black males, and to hear you three guys talk, man, really makes me proud. Like, you guys are confident in what you say, you're knowledgeable in your topics, and you know what I mean. Just keep up the good work, because you never know who is watching. Whether you're, how old are you, LJ?
I'm 22.
How old are you, Nairobi?
18.
18, Kamal? How old are you?
26.
Okay, so you never know, who's playing in the backyard and saying, "Oh, I'm Kamal, I'm Nairobi, I'm LJ." You know what I mean? So if you don't want to be role models, you're role models, because just to hear you guys talk, man, it makes me proud to know that you're associated with Somerset Cricket Club, and again, I take my hat off to Mike Cadet and Jeff and Mark, because I know those guys putting in a lot of work, because Mark also helps us with the football team, and he said he can't come to training yet because we started early, like June, and he said no, I have to put in my time to cup match team, and then you know what I mean. So he attended his first session today, but it makes me proud to see our young black males doing something positive in the community to help our community. So Nairobi, how did you feel? Although you weren't a starter, how did you feel even when you had to go in as a substitute this year? What's the difference between the cup match environment and a regular league environment? Tell me what the difference is.
I mean, it's different only according to the atmosphere, I feel, and the magnitude of the game of cricket. However, playing under such experienced players, it does take a bit off of your back. Whereas, especially being a reserve, you're there to fill in for a lot of players. You're there to, have players' backs and stuff like that when, they're a bit injured or a bit tired. Whereas, playing for like Rangers, being an opening bowler, a lot's weighing on you. You got to run in and bowl. You got to, make sure you get wickets, this, that. And in terms of cup match, the magnitude of the game and how important it is what really sets the tone. However, in terms of the great players that you play with, it kind of gives you a bit of a break, I want to say.
So Kamal, for you to be really at a good age in cricket, what is your role? Because you don't have to be a captain to be a leader. So what is your role? What do you think your role is within this team with a lot of the youngsters coming through now?
Well, mainly it's experience. I have a lot of experience in different formats of cricket, around the world. So when I do come home to play, they mainly ask me, what do I think about this stage of the game? Every stage of the game, I'm always thinking. So when people come and ask me what's going on, I make sure that, they understand fully why I'm thinking what I'm thinking and how I'm thinking. So just to make sure these guys understand that, it's many ways to play cricket and you have to adapt and adjust when these things are going on in the games and the ebbs and flows of the game.
Okay, so Jeff, St. George's. So let's take us through the first innings. St. George's had a good partnership with the Bascom brothers. What goes through your mind when you see players, get stuck in building a good partnership, because the two brothers did have a good partnership in the first innings? What is he playing at that time to dismantle one or even both of those guys?
Well, let me take it back a bit. I didn't think we started very well, and I think that's one of the problems that we have in Somerset. We tend to start slowly, and with every cup match, I mean, it eats at me to no end. We start very, very slowly, and if you think about the first day, our opening bowlers were bowling both sides of the wicket. They were bowling too full or too short, and they got off to a flyer. Mm-hmm. So when the Bascom brothers got in, I mean, because they had such a good score on the board, they looked a bit confident and stuff. So obviously we bought on the spin, we bought on the seamers and stuff like that. But I always knew it was just a matter of time, because in 2 days of cricket and cup match, if you're not in shape and you're not fit, it's just a matter of time. So, guys are just trying to be patient, and when the chance comes, we take the chance. And we knew we only had to get 2 or 3 guys out, and it was just going to be open house after that. Just be patient. Just be patient. Build in the right areas, and they will give us our chance. And once we get the chance, we take them. So the main objective was to. We weren't really concerned about a run day as far as lighting up the scoreboard. It was mainly Anias, lighting up the scoreboard. The other issue would have been Rodney, because he could really sit on his bat and bat for long, periods. And then once we got this, mostly Anias and Picnic, we knew that we were into him at that time.
Okay, so they get 151 for 8 declared. So what was our mentality going into our early innings? What was our mentality? What was your plan going into our innings?
I personally felt a little disrespected. They declared with 151.
Yeah, me too.
And the discussion in the team was, okay, so what type of win is this going to be? Are we going to win by T? Are we going to win by 5 wickets? And then when they declared and we went to bat, I was like, okay, this can be a 2-1. So the match, the result itself was never in doubt. I mean, once they declared at 151, that to me said, we're going to win. We just need to decide how we're going to go about winning this match.
Let me ask you, that declaration, did it take you by surprise?
Absolutely. And I heard some rumblings that they were looking to declare at 131.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And through some convincing, they went to 150. Because
why did you think that they would declare, not, I mean, obviously you're on the other side, but why would you think they declared at that time, regardless of what the score was? Do you think they were hoping with the conditions to get into you, get a few wickets that evening?
I honestly don't know what they were thinking, because at 151, I mean, because of the rain delays and all that sort of stuff, right? The best that they could hope for was a draw. Because they were never going to bowl us out twice within the time that was left, that was allotted. They were never going to be able to do that. So I would have thought they would have betted and got as much runs they could just to save face. But to declare at 151, I was like, okay, they're going to lose. So I'm still baffled as to why they declared at that time, because if they thought that they could bail us out that cheaply and still have a chance to win the match, then these guys need to do some serious, rethinking on how they approach or how they go about winning this cup match.
Personally, I think it was a time thing for them. I think without the rain, they were thinking about a time to declare. So probably the score never mattered to them. But in hindsight, I think they were getting the best of the pitch. The pitch was always going to deteriorate quite fast. So I think they needed to try and bat longer on that and see how, because like I said to someone, cup matches is very, very long days. I don't even play those types of days in the UK in 2-day, 3-day cricket. So, they have 3-hour sessions in cup match. I think the second day started at, 9? And lunch was at 12:40.
That's right.
It's a very, very long session. So there's a lot of cricket to be played. So I think they probably should have reassessed when it came to the time element of the game and see what the last two batsmen could have did. Every run counts at that point.
What time did they declare? I don't know what time they declared.
It was just before tea, I believe.
Just for tea, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we always looked at 3:00, right? And then once it went past 3:00, we said, okay, now they're cutting into their time. And so, yeah, soon after that, they declared.
Okay. All right. When you're looking at, you're watching Chris and Trey kind of go about the business in taking you down to the closing session of the first day. What was the talk like at the end of the first day play, especially for Chris's, 2 runs shy of century? What was the game plan for the next day? Get the century and then try to build on that from, and look for a lot of runs in that first session?
To be honest with you, we were a bit perturbed at the fact that he didn't get his 100 before the end of play. I mean, the players gave him a lot of stick for that. And Chris, being as nonchalant as he is, says, well, I'll just get it tomorrow sort of thing. You guys need to relax sort of thing, right? But yeah, to be very honest, there was a bunch of scenarios because we felt that we were forced to play this match. There were certain things we were considering, like batting all day and sunning them and just not giving them a hit and that sort of stuff. But then when we always said if it comes a time where we could win this match and give them a 2-1 in the backyard, then we're going to go for it. So it was never really any pressure on Chris to get his 100 and start scoring quickly. Because once he got his 100, then they say, okay, you could probably break the record. And Chris would look at you and say, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of guys just getting out there, literally just bat them out of the game. I mean, once we got to 250, 270 and had the 130-run lead, they were actually batted out of the match. That was sort of another sort of schoolboy pressure. They had to score 130 before they had 1 run on the board.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the match itself basically dictated itself.
You mentioned the record score. You were part of the match that saw Gennaro Tucker. Weren't you? You were in the Somerset team that year that when Gennaro broke Lloyd James's record?
No. I finished in 96. You're talking about Kamal? No, I finished in 96.
And Gennaro, what year Gennaro broke the record? Because it was down St. George's.
It was in St. George's, yeah.
Yeah. Was it
I
98?
think it might have been. No,
I was
the
coach.
99 or 2001.
Yeah, it's odd years in St. George's. Odd years.
Right. Okay.
I was a coach at the time.
Right.
So this is
just
my second thing.
I have to go back to that because just watching that, he took his time to get to 100, and then in no time he was 150.
Yeah.
And probably 15 minutes later he was 180.
Yeah. I can actually recall someone telling me to pull him out because we're ruining the match.
Oh yeah.
Because by him scoring that 186, I think the match ended up in a draw as a result.
Right.
Which meant
2001.
which meant no one was going to win the match, right?
Right.
So people were telling me, you're not going to be able to win if you let him bet too long. I was like, yeah, whatever. This man's going for the cup match record.
Right.
I mean, it was raining sixes that day.
Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, it took a while to get to that century, but then it all changed gears. The ball on the northern side became red from the ball being hit at it so much.
That's right.
But the fact that you guys were in the pavilion having to watch Chris go about it, and we often talk about someone like Chris who just seems to just go about the business and doesn't get too over excited and too frail with many things. What was it like for you, Kamal, sitting there and you betted with Chris a lot last year, Somerset's team? What type of batsman is he to be at the wicket with, and just watching him kind of go about the business on Thursday?
I say it all the time to people. Chris is probably the most talented left-handed batsman that Bermuda has ever produced. He doesn't need to train. He doesn't need to try. It just everything's come natural. When I got out there to bat, I actually wondered what pitch he was actually batting on, because I couldn't even get my timing right. I couldn't, be fluent as I normally am. So I yeah, he's just an amazing player. I can't really say too much about him without sounding like a fan. But yeah, Chris is lovely to watch, and I think if he's still at a decent age. If he does, get a bit of training or extra training somehow, I think, getting him back into the national team and we could use him as good as he is for Somerset.
Yeah. But we're going to take our final commercial break. We'll be back with more with the Cup Match champions, Somerset Cricket Club. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's favorite distributor of fine beverages, has brought us a new and refreshing thirst quencher just in time for the approaching warm weather. Hint Water in 7 luscious flavors. Hint Water is slaking the thirst of active people who need pure hydration, low on the glycemic index, and want the kind of taste experience that keeps them coming back to try the next flavor. For those who've been giving water a miss, Hint may win you over. Hint Water. No sugar, no additives, all flavor. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. LJ, you got a chance to be out there with Chris. As you said, you wanted to support him and so forth. What type of mood was he in when you got to the wicket?
That's hard to say, because I don't feel like Chris really has moods. I feel like he's just pretty standard all the time. He's Chris. I go out there and honestly, you would think he just came out there himself. He was so comfortable, and sometimes we weren't even talking about the game. Chris is one of the easiest guys to bat with, because his attitude and his aura, his energy just makes everything easy and comforts you a bit. It's his what's the word I'm looking for? His real calm approach to the game is able to, he kind of pushes it onto everyone, and it just lifts the mood. So when I went out there, it was almost like I had felt like I was on 50, on 100. It felt like I was out there for forever just from talking to him.
Okay. Dennis?
Yeah, just looking at the makeup of Somerset's team. Somerset's team is young. I believe the only guys over 30 Chris is, I believe, is 32, Stovall, and Malachi.
Yes.
So we have a young team, and as long as we stay hungry and humble, St. George's are in trouble, in my opinion. And so one of the things that I looked at with our team this year is the balance, because even in the Berlin we had different variations. Kamal could bowl fast, medium, and spin. Malachi, fast, medium, and spin. We had some brilliant spinners with Stovall and Bringy, and then you have Greg Mabry. So we had a lot of variations and people who were able to penetrate the St. George's batsmen, which St. George's weren't able to do. St. George's had probably one bowler, and he's not as fast as he used to be, which is George. But I think he's a little smarter now with his delivery, slurring it up and stuff like that. But I never really was worried, with the St. George's Bill, a picnic bill well at times. But I think we had much more variation in our team than St. George's.
And
So
Jordan didn't bowl.
pardon me.
And Jordan didn't bowl at all.
Oh, right. That's it. Yeah, the captain didn't even boo.
Right.
So one thing, and I was telling the St. George's executive at the college today, was about how the players knew that the captain may not be available. So something like that could make a team go south too.
Yes.
So that showed me that this team is together because they knew, because I heard that at the last trial too up Somerset. So the players knew that it was a possibility that the captain may not be able to go all the way. So, my hat goes off to you guys for that as well. So to LJ, being so close to 50, because I was disappointed that you didn't get just 50. You done well, you batted like a veteran. How did you feel what was that thought when you saw that ball good in the air and getting caught out, at that stage? What was your thought?
Well, I play it on when I got off,
yes.
Honestly, at first I didn't even realize I played on. I knew that I had gotten an inside edge on the ball, but I only realized once Cine had gone up in arms and started screaming. I was excited that I looked back and saw that one of my bails were missing, and I can't really explain how it felt. All I can say is I was gutted, because it's something that I really wanted, almost to prove something to myself. Walking off the field, every step getting further and further away from the wicket was just heartbreaking, because I knew that I had that half century on my bat, and that because of a slight lapse of concentration that was now gone, and knowing my team and knowing how well and how deep we bat, knowing that I wouldn't have a second chance really to bat was what I think made it really, really tough. But I would say soon after I got over it, because the support I have from all my teammates is just, it's amazing. Even Kamal, as I was walking off, you can see in the video, he just gave me a slight little tap on my chest. And Kamal's someone who's typically really hard on me, because I know he wants me to do well, and something like that lifted my spirits even when I was feeling really bad. So I would just say that it's disappointing that it happened, but I feel like it's just an insight into what I can bring to the team and what the future holds for Somerset.
Okay, Nairobi. So you're up and coming young player. You said 19?
18, yeah.
18. So I'm a guy who was born in Somerset, bred in Somerset, born into Cup Match. What can we expect? Okay, I see Norbert has Nairobi 800 meters is calling you, not just a cricketer, you're an athlete. Yeah, I heard you're very good at track and field as well. But what can the Somerset faithful and Bermuda look forward to eventually when you are chosen as a Cup Match coach? What can we look forward to? Because I've heard a lot about you. The first I saw you play was at the Cup Match trial. So what can we look forward to in the future from Nairobi Mills?
Well, earlier today I was actually talking to Chris, and Chris speaking into existence, we was talking about a 5-wicket haul, and Chris basically told me to just keep it simple. So hopefully going into, my first cup match and being able to play with, the team now, I'll just be able to keep it as simple as possible and look, to take wickets and hopefully help the team.
Well, Dennis, let me just say, next year around this time, hopefully Nairobi will be representing Bermuda at the Commonwealth Games. As you know, he does track and field as well, and hopefully he qualifies for that. And then in 2 years after that, we'll have the 2024 Olympics, and hopefully he's representing Bermuda in that. So I know a lot of people will want to see him in cup match, but there's also a lot of people that want to see him represent the country in track and field, and as well as cricket. So the sky's the limit for this young man, and hopefully he can achieve everything he wants in sport. And one of the things I know, as a young man, you always want to play cup match, you always want to represent your country. So he has some tough decisions to make coming up in a short while. I know they're smiling because as you saw Norbert put up the 800-meter runner, we want to make sure that the opportunity that these youngsters have, not just playing cricket, but also having the opportunity to represent the country in other sports that they are very, very capable of doing. We want to wish Nairobi all the best and want to support him in the decisions that he has to make as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old with family and, of course, coaches. So I know, Jeff, you're going to have your side talk. Kamal, you're going to have your side talk, and there's others. LJ, it's a lot of side talk, but we want to wish, we want to make sure that whatever decisions this young man makes in the coming years are in his best interests. So we look forward to those things coming down the pipeline. I just wanted to throw that in because obviously there's a lot of stuff going on.
You're praying already. Unbelievable. What's that? You're praying already.
It took you 57 minutes to throw a rock.
Unbelievable. And one thing I'll tell.
But let me just say this, Dennis. Let me just say this because I remember we didn't win as much, but we held on to it for quite some time. So right. I understand that feeling that many people would have had many years ago when St. George's was holding on to the cup, and now we haven't had it for quite some time. I understand the feeling. Yeah. The one thing I was talking with someone today, the one thing that we didn't have back then is social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because had we had social media back then, I'm pretty sure some of the language that is used nowadays.
Whoa.
It would have been a drastic turnaround of the, because you went through it, Dennis. Jeff went through it. So those type of things, and I fully understand the frustration of St. George's people. I fully understand the delight of Somerset and the fact that Somerset has won, so many times in the last 9 years, and I congratulate them. They built something, and they're hoping that they continue to build on it. And we look forward to the work that St. George's have to put in. And to get even close, because that's the first thing you have to do is get close. That's the first thing. You have to get close, because right now it hasn't been close. But Jeff, where do you see yourself with this team in say 5 years' time?
Ooh, that's a long time, Earl. At the moment, I'm taking it year by year because the one thing you don't want to get caught is becoming stagnant.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think throughout my sporting career, I've recognized when it was time for me to get off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I will know when the time is right. But what I will promise you is that things will be in place. Things will be in place to maintain the continuity and to maintain or to push this legacy on. Because the structure is already in place. The formula is already there. And it's just making sure that the right people are in place when it's time for me to go.
Mm. Yeah. Vance, I just want to let you know I've had a lot of licks in my life.
When I go, I won't be too far away.
Okay. No, I'm just telling Vance, I've had a lot of licks in my life. So You know, just get in line, man. Just get in line. Any final questions, Dennis?
Yeah, well, just to every Audi guys, sir, it's although Cup match is the biggest event in Bermuda, but it's nothing bigger than representing your country. Whether it's track and field, anything representing Bermuda. When you heard that national anthem playing, is nothing bigger than that. So if Nairobi is good in track and field, I recommend that, like Norbert said, you could do both. Um, we had a lot of cricket players or cup match players who play a cup match and they play football. You know what I mean? So you could do both. If you condition your body, you condition your mind to do that. You know what I mean? You know, I encourage you to do that. You get chosen for the national team. I hear a lot of guys in the football arena now saying, "Oh, after that national team, this and that." You know, it's nothing bigger than putting yourself against the best players in your region. So, you know, I always recommend to players in Bermuda, whether it's football, cricket, any sport, you know, represent your country because you don't know what could happen from there. The biggest regret in my life was not fulfilling my track and field ambition because at 11 I was jumping 18 feet in long jump at 11 years old, and I always wonder what would have happened if I would have stuck to that. You know what I mean? So don't have any regrets as you get older. So you know if you have a talent, I know Kamal plays a little football, but you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, you know, do what you want to do. So the thing for Jeffy is now we've had a resounding victory this year. Should have been a 2-1. I was pissed off that it wasn't a 2-1. And where do we go from here? You know, getting ready for next year because one of the things I heard because we had Clarence Parford on last week, and one of the things he said he used to start training in January, getting ready for cup match. You know what I mean? So that showed me why he was at such a high level. And one cup match he built 50 overs, like that's unheard of, you know.
Right.
So where do we go from here? I mean, I recommend that we enjoy this moment. You know, I mean, I was talking crap all day today to the St. George's fans at the college. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying the moment. You know, so where do we go from her moving forward with this Somerset program?
What I would say, I think Somerset is blessed in the fact that we have a number of guys that are overseas. All three gentlemen on this call are overseas, you know, applying their trade rather in university or professionally in some form or fashion. And the other guys that are in the team tend to be very professional, have a very professional approach to the game as far as their fitness and everything. So that is never a real concern for me. You know, some things you just can't coach and some things you just can't teach. Like, and if I'm wrong, I can tell you that these guys have probably been together every day since cup match ended. The Somerset team in some form or fashion have been together since, whether it was Medicaid, whether they're going out have lunch, or if they're good, they've just been hanging out with each other because it's a brothership. And you know, hey man, we just keep on pushing in. And what we need to do is that when we add on to this team, we got to make sure that there's someone that's going to come in and buy into what we're doing. You know, because all it takes is one person, and you could that could be a cancer to the entire team. So I think that's something that we've handled quite well over the years, and hopefully it can continue.
Wow.
Okay, so last question for each of them, Earl, real quick.
Yeah.
So LJ, so all of you, so for the next year or so, what are your cricket ambitions moving forward? LJ, then Kamal, then Nairobi.
For the next year, I hope to represent, you know, Bermuda at an international level. That'll be the first thing that comes to mind after this, and then from there, I go back to university in September. So I'm looking to just train, keep myself fit, and just be ready for any opportunities that arise. Just make sure that I stay ready so I don't have to get ready, as my dad likes to tell me.
Yep, excellent. Kamal?
For me, there's a few things on the cards. I've always that opportunity to go back to Australia and play some cricket for a season. Also trying to see if I could go down to the Caribbean and play in the local first class game down there. So there's a few things I'm trying to do, and hopefully one of those unfold.
Okay, Nairobi.
Like Al said, staying fit, keeping my mind ready for anything that comes up.
Okay.
Well, again, I want to say congratulations, Dennis. You could smile for yet another year.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Earl.
Jeff, job well done. And to you three young men, I want to encourage you to, as Dennis said, if the opportunity arises to represent the country again, do so with the best of your ability. And we're here to support anything that you do. And we look forward to more success that you guys can have, both on and off the field. And again, congratulations to Somerset Cricket Club for winning the 2021 Annual Cup Match Classic at the Wellington Oval. With that, I say good night.
Good night. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, guys.